Hi, my name is Tiago Duarte and welcome to another video tutorial here at Daily Beats. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I mixed the last video, maybe 2 weeks ago, a beat called Sometimes It Takes a While. I will link it in the description if you want to see how I made the beat. But in this video, I'm going to mix it in Pro Tools. And this is the before and after of the track. As you can see, it's a big difference. The track sounds way more open, way more interesting, way more clear. And in this video, I'm going to show you pretty much everything that I do in terms of EQ for every single track. So let's go ahead and start with the drums. This is the EQ that I made for the drums. As you can see, it's 2 cuts and 2 boosts. It's very simple, but here mainly what I did was to remove some of the wonkiness of the kick and make the clap or the snare and the hi-hats a little bit more present. So let's listen the track or the drums with and without the EQ. When I take the EQ off, the kick sound more boom boom, more wonky, with more boxiness. So I just wanted to clean up the kick and make the snare and the hi-hats a little bit more present in the track. Next up we have the bass. For the bass I just applied 3 simple cuts. It's very simple. It doesn't make too much of a difference, but it makes the bass sound way better with the kick. So let's listen to the bass. It's really hard to tell what's the difference with and without, but with the drums it sounds way better. It's very subtle, but it makes the connection between the kick and the bass way better, and it makes it more clear. Next up is the organ. The organ is the main element of the track, or it was the element that created the track. So I wanted to mix it after I have the good foundation, a solid foundation between the drums and the bass. And as you can see, I added 2 cuts and 2 boosts. And basically, because I already had a good link between the drums and the bass, I just said, okay, now I just need to make the rest of the instruments sound better. As you can hear, it's not a big difference, but it makes the organ a little bit more present in the high frequencies and removes a little bit of the low end, so that we can leave the low end for the kick and the bass, and we can make the rest of the track sound better. And this is why I was able to bring up a little bit of volume to the track, because since we remove a lot of the low-end frequency or energy, we have more space to bring the rest of the frequencies up. So it's always a balance act. So let's listen to the organ in the context of the drums and the bass. As you can hear, it's a very subtle difference, but I'm looking for subtle differences here. I'm looking for making the track not completely different. I just want the track to sound better. And it's small increments in the overall track on all. When you take everything off, or when you take all the plugins, you really see the difference. But from every single stage is small differences. And this is what I'm looking for. I don't want to be very aggressive in my mixing because I don't want to overdo it. I just want to bring up the best of the instruments. Next up we have the piano. So the piano plays the same notes as the organs. This is how the piano sounds. And as you can see, I added 2 cuts and 2 boosts. The boosts are actually quite big, one 9 dBs and the other 3 dBs, but this one is quite big. And as you can see, we lose a lot of the power of the low frequencies of the piano. But again, I already have low frequencies in my mix, I already have the kick and the bass, and I want to keep that clean. So what I did was just remove the unnecessary frequencies from the low end of the piano. If this was a solo instrument, probably I would even add a little bit more to make them sound a little bit more warm, but in this case I don't want that. This is just a texture element, so I don't need low end here. I just removed them, brought up the high frequencies to make the piano shine a little bit better in the context of the mix. So let's listen to the piano in the context of the drums, bass and organ. As you can hear, whenever I take the EQ off, the piano gets lost in the mix. And that's why I just removed everything from the low end and brought the high frequency, so that you can hear that there is a piano there. And that was the main point. And let's go and see this synth percussive. This is a percussive synth that I have going from left to right. So let's listen to it alone. This one doesn't have too much of a difference. I just added a boost of 6 dB at 1.6 kilohertz because I wanted to give it a little bit more presence in the mix, but it's not a big deal, this one. This is just a texture element that is giving some effect from left to right to give some movement to the track. But the point of this was not to make it sound more present, it was just to bring it up a little bit in the mix. So next up, we have the brass. The brass is something that I can really show you when I say try to clean up the low end so that we have the bass and the kick to shine, or leave the bass and the kick to shine. And this is a good example of it. Let's listen to the brass. Same thing here. I just removed the low end, I applied 2 cuts and 2 boosts to bring up the frequencies that I liked in the brass. But if we listen to this in the context of the track, it's something that you have to really focus to see the effect, but it's very, for me it's very noticeable here. Whenever I remove the EQ, I see some muddiness in the low end, and this is why I try to always remove the low end, or try to fix first, to mix first the low end, so that I have a solid foundation for the rest of the track. And if you have a good foundation between the kick and the bass, and they sound good together, the rest of the track will be a piece of cake. You just have to bring the good stuff about the instruments and do some high-pass filter. At least this is my experience, and this case is very telling about it. So if I remove the EQ, you see that the bass gets a little bit more confusing. And when I remove it, we hear more of the brass in the higher frequencies, mids and higher frequencies, but then we clean up the bass and leave the kick and the bass alone so that they can sound well. So it makes the track clear, and also it separates the elements, so we leave the space for the bass and we leave the rest of the things for the rest of the things. That's basically it. Let's see the next element, and the next element is the trumpet. So as you can see in this curve, I again added 2 cuts, 2 boosts and a high-pass filter. This probably is what I did for all of the elements. It was not by design that I said, oh, I just need to add 2 cuts and 2 boosts and a high-pass filter. That's not what I did, or that was not my thought process. My thought process was, let me see what frequencies I don't like and I cut, and let me see what frequencies I do like and I boost them. And let's listen to the brass. Again, the same thing, just remove some low end and leave the higher frequencies, because when you remove low end, you are actually removing energy of the sound, so it makes the sound lower. Because I'm applying a high pass filter and removing a lot of the low end, what I'm leaving is that I'm removing a lot of energy from the instrument and leaving the rest of the instrument to shine. So let's say that we have a lot of energy in the low end. When I remove it, you will see the peak volume going down because we removed a lot of the low end frequency or energy. Let's listen to the entire track, and I'm going to bypass the instruments again, and this time try to focus also on the master, and you will see that the peak volume is pretty much the same. And this is what you want to do in your mixes. You want to make them sound better, not louder, because if they sound louder, it usually will trick your brain and saying, oh, this sounds better. But that's not exactly what you want. You want them to sound better and have the same level. So you want to apply change to the sound, but keep the same volume. And that's an important thing about mixing. So let's listen to the track and see how it sounds with and without plugins. The peak volume in the master is pretty much the same. It could be a little bit higher, a little bit lower. That's normal because we applied EQ, compression, so we changed the dynamics of things, but it's not a 3 or 4 or 5 dB differences. It can be half a dB or something, or even less. So that's why I think this is a good example of a good mix, if I can say so. But it sounds good, I like it, and I will keep it like that. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. This beat will now be available for free for you to download. If you like the beat and if you like to write something, you can record your own vocals, send them to me. If I like the final result or if I like your vocals, I will create a video showing how to mix your vocals on this beat, and then I will give you the beat and the mastered track for free so that you can have better tracks for your portfolio, and also you will have some promotion here in the channel because I will put your social media or YouTube links here. So that's a win-win for you and also a win for me, because I can make new videos here for the channel and also collaborate with you. So that's it. I will have all the links in the description if you want to download the beat and send me the track. If you are new here to this channel, subscribe and activate the notifications so that you know when I upload new videos. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below and consider supporting this channel by buying one of the products at DailyBeats.pt or become a premium member and you will see the entire video. This was close to 15 minutes of me explaining how I did everything in this mix. EQ, compression, why I boost here, why I cut there, and you will see pretty much everything and all my mindset to have good mixes and good masters at the end of the day. You will also be able to download sample packs and project files, and you will also have access to exclusive Q&A sessions where I get all of your questions and answer with videos so that I can help you accelerate your learning curve and make you a better producer faster. That's it, guys. My name is Tiago Duarte. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.